What is going on, guys? It's your boy Chris from Sports Pick Chris. Today we're coming back to you with another NFL video. If you haven't already, we posted up our NFL video for our picks on our player props on what we're going to do. So make sure you watch this video. It already has 203 looks on Twitter. And I think we already have 50 on YouTube. So, again, make sure you go watch the video. Here's a little sneak preview of our picks. But now we are picking every single game with a little bit of reasoning. We're not going to pick the spread. We're just going to say who wins. And I do have a couple of sleepers today. But for the most part, I think most of the games will be pretty competitive. But let's just dive. Actually, you know what? We'll pick spread today. Week 18, let's get a little crazy. Moving on to the first game, Carolina at Atlanta. Panthers have been playing a little bit better as of recently. The Atlanta Falcons are still in it for the playoffs. So we're going to take the Atlanta Falcons minus. Actually, we're going to take a Carolina Panthers plus 7.5, but Atlanta to win outright. They're playing in Atlanta. I think Bijan Robinson's going to have an absolute day today, going against the worst rush defense. So I can expect Bijan to have an amazing game. But going over Carolina, since Bryce Young has been back, they only have allowed more than 7 points one time over the did not hit the spread one time during Bryce Young's stint back. So we're going to take Carolina plus 7.5. Going over to Washington to Dallas. Dallas has been playing a little bit better, but due to Trey Lance and Will Greer going to probably be playing. Cooper Rush will not be playing. I'm going to go Washington. Washington still has still playing for a lot. Zach Ertz is trying to hit his some incentive money here. Dallas has nothing left to play for. We're going to take Washington plus 7. There's not really much to talk about this game, especially who's be playing quarterback for Dallas. And Dallas's defense is not very good. Washington has been slicing and dicing, so we're going to take Washington minus 7. Going over to the Green Bay and Chicago game. Chicago, again, really doesn't have too much to play for. Green Bay, kind of yes and no. Still have some stuff to play for. I don't think they'll sit too much of their starters. Maybe in the second half. I'm going to take Green Bay minus 9.5. I believe that they can move down, but they can't move up for the wild card. So they're still going to play. They're still going to have to try to fight to stay in there. Do I think, Chicago, again, we don't know what's going to happen with Keenan Allen next year. Hell, we don't know what's going to happen with DJ Moore next year. Romeo Dunze looks like to be a dog. Swift. So the defense is good for Chicago. Hasn't been playing too well as of recently. But we're going to take the 9.5 with Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to try to play majority of this game. So we're going to take Green Bay minus 9.5. Houston versus Tennessee. I'm going to take Houston plus the 2.5. Even with Houston not going to be probably playing too many of their starters, I think Davis Mills is still a decent quarterback in the league. Started for a year before C.J. Stroud. If you look behind Joe Mixon, you still got the kid from the Gators from UF. Playing running back, so they still have some talent over on Houston. It's not like they can sit Stephon Diggs or Tank Dell; they're both out. So Nico Collins, so I can be one of the only receivers sitting. We can still see by Robert Woods going to get some good snaps, and some of the offensive line still going to get some good snaps. And the defense has some depth. The defense has been very good for Houston so far. Tennessee, I don't think it really matters who's playing quarterback, Mason Rudolph or Will Levis. They're going to take either Shador or Cam Ward in the draft. So, I don't think really too much Tennessee. The only player that really has a lot to play for in this game is Tony Pollard trying to get some incentive money. But besides that, I still think Houston's going to come up. And at least I think Houston's going to win the game outright too. I'm going to take Houston plus the 2.5 there. Moving on to the Jacksonville Colts game. Colts minus 3.5. No Anthony Richardson is going to be Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco versus, I believe, Mac Jones still. So I'm going to take the Colts minus 3.5. I don't love the hook on it. I think both teams are going to be playing hard. I saw a lot of people on Twitter are really thinking the Colts are gonna come out there and sling the ball around. A lot of people have the young kid Josh Downs taking getting a lot of receptions today, so that's kind of swaying me a little bit. I haven't looked too much into this game, but I'll take the favorite on here. I don't love the hook again at 3.5, but we'll take it at 3.5 for the Indianapolis Colts. Jacksonville has looked really bad. I can see them moving on from Travis Etienne after this year. So we don't know what again. No team has anything to play for. The Giants beat the Colts last year to kind of take them completely out of playoff contention. So, but again, we'll take Colts minus 3.5. Going over to Buffalo, New England. It looks like Josh Allen's not going to play a single snap in this game, or if he is, he will play only a half. So I think just for that alone, I'm going to take Buffalo minus 3.5. The Colts still cannot put up points, and I still think backup defense for the Buffalo Bills, or take out some of the starters for the Buffalo, they're still going to be able to do what they want against New England, and New England's defense itself is just not a great unit as we thought they were going to be, or they came out and played like they were going to be. So I'm going to take Buffalo minus 3.5 here. Again, take the favorites, and I kind of like Mitchell Trubisky sitting behind, and now Mitchell Trubisky can be fighting for one of those spots, those bridge quarterback spots, like someone like maybe Carolina or Atlanta at the top, Tennessee, the Giants, the Saints, Raiders, maybe Miami. So there's definitely some quarterback bridge spots available that Mitchell Trubisky is trying to put on some tape here to see if he can go get some a contract next year from someone else and have a chance to actually start on a different team. Moving over to my team, the New York Giants versus the Dirty Birds over at Philly. I'm gonna take. Unfortunately, I hate doing this. I think the Giants are gonna win this game, and really, we've already gonna miss Cam Ward, who I really wanted over Shador, but we're gonna miss Cam Ward and Shador, and we're probably gonna go now drop down to the low 7, 8, 9 pick. I'm gonna take the Giants plus 2.5. Unfortunately, Drew Lock had a career game last week against the Colts. Philly is not gonna play a single starter. I hope that Tanner McKee guy can go out there and slice and dice our defense, but I think ultimately the Giants are going to be able to score a little bit more points in it. I see the over-under at 35.5. I would take the over on that. Again, Philly's not going to play too much of their starters, so give me the Giants plus 2.5 there. And we'll kind of move on to the last 1 o'clock game of the day, the Saints versus the Bucks. I'm going to take the Bucks minus 14. I think even if it's hard to take the Saints. The Saints haven't been able to score at all. No Alvin Kamara. Again, no Derek Carr. No Chris Olave still. So, I don't think it really matters who's on the football, as well as the defense itself for the Saints are really bad. So, we're going to take Tampa minus 14. And they're going to play hard. They beat Carolina by 35 points last week. And then going against another team another division rival, I think regardless, they want to plummet to the ground. If the Bucks win, they're in the playoffs. So, the biggest thing, Baker and Mike Evans got a lot to play for too. A lot of money left on the table for both of those two players. So I think Tampa's going to go out there trying to go guns a-blazing and throw the football all down the field. I'm going to take Bucks minus the 14. Going over to Kansas City versus Denver. Kansas City is going to play, it looks like, half their team. They're playing majority of their starters probably for the first half, and then they're going to bench most of them afterwards. No, Patrick Mahomes is going to be the Carson Wentz show. I just think everyone's going to be on Denver minus 11. I'm going to take the Chiefs plus 11. I think Denver wins. I'm going to take the Chiefs plus 11. The Chiefs want to have Denver beat them so then they can just completely swipe the Cincinnati Bengals out. Denver has a lot to play for. They win, they're in. And with the Bengals playing yesterday, they won. So all they need is Miami to lose and Denver to lose. And I think one of the only teams that could really defeat the Kansas City Chiefs right now are the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think the Kansas City Chiefs are smart, which they are very smart. They'll let Denver beat them, so Denver will be in the playoffs, and Cincinnati will be out. but I think Kansas City is going to actually cover the spread. I'm going to take Kansas City plus 11. Going over to the Chargers at Raiders game. Chargers are favored by 7. Chargers still have a little bit of room to play. They can actually move up as well. So I think I'm going to take the Chargers minus 11. It doesn't really matter for me who's throwing the football. Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, or Desmond Ridder for the Raiders. I think, again, the Chargers stomped all over the Patriots, who, again, we thought that game was probably going to be a little bit closer than what it was. The Chargers, again, are playing hard. Justin Herbert's having a hell of a season. I know he's not in the MVP conversation, but if you give this guy a legit number 1 receiver, that's all they need. You know, you have Vlad McConkey. Imagine if you give him like T. Higgins or someone like that, like a bona fide one coming out of that play action pass for Justin Herbert. That'll be disgusting. But I'm going to take, the Chargers minus 7. The Raiders can't stop anyone on defense right now, and the Chargers are able to run the football all over the field. Thank you, Brock Bowers, for making the Raiders halfway fun to watch so far this year. But, unfortunately, we'll take, again, the Raiders minus 7. The Chargers minus 7 and see what the Raiders do this offseason. Going over to Seattle to the Rams, I'm going to take the Rams plus 7. I know the Rams are going to start some of their starters, but I think they'll keep the game close. Seattle's been struggling offensively this year. Geno Smith has $4 million riding on the line this year. Or this game, $2 million if he can hit 186 passing yards, and then $2 million if they win. So I think Seattle wins, but I think the Rams are going to keep the game close. We're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo, so again, not a bad quarterback. Some of the receivers are going to be playing, Demarcus Robinson, Hazelwood, so they're still going to have some talent on the field. Defensively, they're still going to have some talent on the field as well, too. Some younger players are going to continue playing, so I think the Rams are going to cover the spread at 7, but we'll take the Rams plus 7, but Seattle, I think, is going to come out with the win. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going to take the Jets here, minus 1. Tua's not even playing, and regardless, Miami forgets how to play in the snow or in cold weather. So we're just going to take, if Miami wins, I believe they're in. It's something weird. It's like Miami needs to win and then someone to lose, and then they're in. So Miami can still make the playoffs. Miami's going to play tough, but Aaron Rodgers, probably potential last game. Devontae Adams last game before he goes somewhere else. We're going to see how this game kind of goes. I think it's going to be an interesting type of game. I think Miami's been on a very too much of a hot streak right now. Miami's defense is great. I think the Jets and Aaron Rodgers only need to score maybe 20 points this game, which I know it's kind of tough for them. But if they can make that happen, I think Miami gets eliminated from the playoffs. And I think the Jets do win this game minus 1. Going over to San Fran at Arizona, Kyler Murray has a lot to play for. It sounds like he might be getting traded this offseason. So, again, it could be some looks at, what some other teams in the league who's looking at Kyler Murray for maybe a trade piece for the franchise quarterback. Kind of have to take that contract, as well as there's some incentive money in there, $750K for their from in there. $500K for a rushing touchdown and $250K for a 50 yards rushing. So I think we're going to see Kyler Murray scramble across the field. San Fran has nothing left to play for, and they just look really bad. But I'm going to take San Fran plus the 4.5. I think it's a little bit too many points on the board left. They're not going to sit any starters. Fred Warner came out and said, we're going to play 100% to the last whistle. So I'm going to take I'll take the San Fran plus 4.5, but I think Arizona does win due to Kyler, trying to get almost that $750,000 left in his back pocket. And the last game, obviously the best game of the week, it's for the number one seed in the NFC. We have Minnesota at Detroit. I'm going to take Minnesota plus 3 here. I think Detroit wins by a field goal, but I think you got to take the plus points with Minnesota. That defense for Minnesota and Brian Flores and what they've been able to do, they made Andrew Van Ginkel a defensive player of the year nominee. The entire defense itself has been playing phenomenal. And Detroit's it's pretty banged up, but again, they're the highest scoring offense in the NFL, and they can do whatever they want on offense. So, I think Detroit's gonna, at the end of the day, offense wins games here. We're kind of seeing it with Cincinnati and some other teams. Like your defense can be bad, but if you can put up 35 points a game, and that's what Detroit can do. They've already played Minnesota and they beat Minnesota as well. So I'm gonna take Detroit here. Detroit minus. I would take Detroit to win, but Minnesota, I'll take the 3 points with Minnesota any day of the week. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It's week 18. Next week we got wild card, so excited to get that wild card content out for you guys. But if you haven't already, make sure you leave a like on this video and subscribe. If you haven't already, again, make sure you go follow our Twitter. Again, we've been on fire with some of the picks. But again, it's been a fun season with you guys. Cannot wait until week 1 next year. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. If you haven't already, make sure you guys stay green. Have a great day.